Back in the early 70s, 35 BMW employees got together and decided to create a team of experts that would grab some of BMW's vehicles and put them on steroid, making them faster, more muscular, prettier looking, and of course, a lot more expensive. That team called themselves the Motorsports Team at BMW, or M for short. In 2020, M decided to mess around with BMW bikes, so they went to the flagship supersport motorcycle, the S1000R, and Mified it into M1000R, which was lighter, more powerful, and of course, a lot more expensive. Soon after, they tried it again with this bike, the S1000R, the naked version of that motorcycle, and they created the bike that's in front of us, the M1000R, which is pretty much world's most powerful hyper naked motorcycle, and I have the chance to review one today. So let's do just that. Let's go wheel to wheel and everything in between on this 2023 M1000R and see what M has done to the S1000R, the base model version of this motorcycle. Then we're gonna get on it, go out there and ride it and see the performance of it out in the real world, and then I'm gonna quantify my thoughts and give this motorcycle the Emmy score. Let's start by talking about what's under the hood on this 2023 M1000R. You have an inline 4-cylinder 999cc engine that makes about 205 horsepower at the crank and about 85 foot-pound of torque, compared to the base model, the non-M version, so the S1000R. This engine here makes 40 more horsepower, so this is a true M motorcycle. It's not just an M package or an M badging and a bunch of carbon fibers. No, down to its engine, this motorcycle is entirely retuned to give you a lot more power, and of course it's lighter than the regular S1000R. The engine is straight out of an S1000R, the super sport version of this motorcycle, and compared to the rivals of this bike, so the Ducati Street Fighter V4 as well as the MV Agusta Brutale 1000RR, this bike makes almost exactly the same amount of power. Those two other motorcycles are advertised to have 208 horsepower. This one is 205, but that's really negligible when you get to numbers like that. Weight would have a much more significant difference, but I would consider it almost the same power as those other motorcycles. I couldn't find wet weight advertised on either of those two Italian motorcycles' websites. They always just list the dry weight, which is useless. Who cares how much a bike weighs without oil, brake fluid, or gas in it? That's not really a practical measure of the weight of the bike. This one, the wet weight is advertised as 440 pounds, which, considering the amount of power it has, it's a really healthy power to weight ratio. Coming out of this engine, you have a full titanium exhaust system, Acropovic exhaust system. It's $1,850 extra to put this exhaust system on this motorcycle. It's really worth it because this is how it sounds. As for the design features on this motorcycle, there are a couple of items that stand out. First, let me explain how you can even configure a bike to look like this. Everything is OEM from BMW, nothing is aftermarket, but here's what happens when you go to order one of these motorcycles. You can pick two colors for this bike. You can either get the white one or you can get the black. The white one is called light white and the black one is black storm. If you get the black M1000R like this one, you are bound to have to add the M competition package to this motorcycle, which is a $5,000 option. It includes a ton of carbon fiber down to the rims, and that's right, both front and rear tire rims are made up of carbon fiber, and they're really light. And as part of this package, you can get the pillion seat cover, which means if you put the key here under the lift button, that's this M Power blue color, you can remove the passenger seat and exchange it with this sleek piano black glossy cover. So to make the motorcycle a little more aerodynamic looking, I guess, if you're not carrying passengers around. One thing about M is that they are really great at making motorcycles, but they also don't miss a chance to tell you that this motorcycle is an M1000R. I counted, there are close to 20 M logos on this bike, and I'm gonna show you them all.
M, M, M. M, 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 M.
But no design feature is as prominent as the wings on this motorcycle. You can see from that angle, there are two wings, each about 5 inches wide at the widest point. They look interesting. Some people like them, some people don't, but at least they are functional. BMW says at speeds of over 100 miles per hour, these wings add 22 pounds of downforce to this motorcycle, essentially making a 440-pound bike a 460-pound bike. I think they look pretty cool. You don't get that on a lot of motorcycles. As far as technology goes, this is a high-end BMW motorcycle, so it is of course loaded with everything, including keyless go. So the key is here. As long as I have it close to the motorcycle, I push this button, and the bike comes to life with this TFT screen that's pretty common on a lot of motorcycles from BMW. It's a very high resolution, very responsive screen, and of course BMW owes that to the automotive branch of BMW because they've already had TFT screens for a really long time and they're very good at making them. So importing that technology into the motorcycle branch is a relatively simple task. Again, BMW is a large manufacturer, and of course they're pretty good at making stuff like that. Now, enough talking, let's go ride this motorcycle. But before we do that, a big thank you to Seattle Used Bikes for allowing me this opportunity to review this motorcycle, especially the current owner of this motorcycle. Seattle Used Bikes business model is on consignment, so this motorcycle has an owner who's probably watching this video, so thank you for letting me review your motorcycle. And how it works is you bring the bike you want to sell to this place, and then they do a walk around of the bike, they look at anything that needs fixing or maintenance, they do all of that, they detail the motorcycle, and they put it on their showroom floor for sale, for test rides and all of that. When the bike gets sold, there is no additional cost to the buyer, but the seller pays a small percentage as commission to Seattle Used Bikes. Seattle Used Bike also has storage if you don't have room to store your bike, or if you're doing some remodeling project or whatever it is and you need your precious bike out of your garage for a while. You can park it here and pay them monthly for the space. They also have a service shop. If your bike needs work to be done, you don't have to be a seller or a buyer here. You can just bring your bike and they charge you hourly rate to fix the bike. And they also have a whole bunch of consignment gear, riding gear that you can check out and purchase from them. So it's an all-inclusive place. It's a really fun place to spend your time at. So come and check out Seattle Used Bikes. And I will leave a link to this bike that's for sale in the description section of the video if you want to check it out. And if you want to buy it, it is a very rare opportunity to have one of these all of a sudden show up at a dealership here. So if you want to check it out, the link will be there. Now let's go and ride it. And the beauty and the beast all in one bike. Wow, look at this. It's a pretty rare bike. Alrighty. Wow, I am leaned over. Look at the wings. Jeez. Wow. let's see, so segmented fuel gauge, we have that here. 104 miles to an empty tank, we have that here. Mileage, trip information, even the tire pressure, we have that here. Oh wow, look, it's even like the numbers on the odometer are animated. Oh, let me go. Any number you approach on the odometer, on the RPM, it signifies that number. It makes it into a bold number. See how big the 4 is now, and it gets smaller as you go further away from it. That's so interesting. Just these little details make me happy. Oh my god, you can definitely feel that this bike is a hyper naked. Like when you ride like an MT07, then you move on to this bike, not just the power, but the way it handles, the weight of the machine, the way you're sitting on it, everything signifies power. So I rode the Ninja ZH2 a while ago. It's on my channel. Go check out that video as well. That bike is over 100 pounds heavier than this bike is, and it shows. Because I remember when I was on that bike, it felt like a semi-truck. I was using all my muscle power to keep the bike upright. It's pretty heavy. It has a lot of power. It's more of like an electric bike because of the supercharger that it has on it. The acceleration is a little more instant than this bike is, but the weight reduction that they've done on this bike, being again over 100 pounds lighter than the ZH2, really makes handling of this bike a lot easier than the other one is. Just because of the sheer weight difference. And this bike is really powerful, by the way. Like, don't get me wrong, ZH2 actually has less power than this one does. All I'm saying is because of the supercharger, that one is more responsive, but this one is lighter and more powerful, and you can tell that once you pick up a few miles of speed, the rest goes up really fast. This is, I'm feeling that everybody's looking at this bike. Apple bottom jeans and boots with the fur, everybody's looking at her. Everybody looks at it. And they have every right to do so. This is just a shiny pile of carbon fiber moving through the city. I mean, look at the attention to details on this bike. The name of the bike is M1000R, alright? They have cut out a perfect oval, whatever this shape is, for the number 1000, so it perfectly fits it in there. I bet you can use the word 1000 to perfectly center and align this handlebar just using the name of the bike. Every screw on this motorcycle has the word BMW printed on it. I mean, engraved in it. Alright, let's see how fast we can get up to the speed of those cars, alright? Okay, yep, this bike is pretty fast.
And now, on to the ME score for the 2023 BMW M1000R. The M1000R is an aggressive naked bike, still more comfortable than a crotch rocket, but not as comfy as something like a Yamaha MT07. This gets the M1000R a 6 out of 10 in riding comfort. In the fuel range / features, the M1000R gets a 9 out of 10, missing 1 point due to its poor fuel consumption. As far as the commute-specific tech goes, the M1000R offers every tech you could ask for, including ABS, traction control, grip heaters, TFT screen with phone connectivity, riding modes, and etc. It earns a 10 out of 10 in the commute-specific tech and features. In the storage category, the M1000R has very little storage under the passenger seat, similar to most other naked bikes, and it earns a 1 out of 10 in this category. A good commuter bike should be cost-effective, reliable, and have a strong dealership network. The M1000R is very expensive at close to $30,000. Maintenance costs over the time of your ownership will definitely be higher than Japanese bikes due to higher parts and labor prices. However, reliability tends to be better on BMWs than Italian bikes as they are more refined machines. BMW Motorcycles has under 250 dealers in the US, but they are definitely more commonly found than some of the other Italian rival dealers. The M1000R gets a 6 out of 10 in affordability, reliability, and dealer support for an overall score of 32 out of 50 for the commuter category. Now on to the performance/dope factor category. In the race riding position category, the M1000R will provide a better riding position than most other naked bikes. You are leaned over and feet are slightly pushed back. This bike has the billet package, which gives you race-oriented rear sets. The seat is a non-slip material and keeps you planted under hard pulls. It gets an 8 out of 10 in the race riding position. For the horsepower/torque figures, the torque on this bike is 85 pounds-feet and has around 185 horsepower to the rear wheel for an average value of 135.5, earning the M1000R a 7 out of 10. As for the weight, the M1000R weighs 440 pounds, which is a 7 out of 10. Regarding the racetrack-oriented ride rates features, the M1000R provides wings, traction control, ABS, premium M-branded brakes, and fully adjustable suspensions front and back for a total of 10 out of 10. As for the design choices and marketplace, the M1000R is a limited production special edition M-powered motorcycle from an already premium brand. It looks muscular and aggressive and ready to race down anyone nearby. It has all the cutting-edge technology and the power to go with it. It also comes in various colors and packages to suit your taste. This is definitely a bike that could become very sought after, just like how the older M3 and M5 BMW cars are currently. The M1000R earns an 8 out of 10 for the overall design and marketplace. This gives the M1000R a total score of 40 out of 50 in the performance/dope factor category, which is a very respectable score. And it sits here on the list of other naked bikes I have reviewed, taking the first spot away from the BMW F900R, which up until this point was the winner of our Emmy score in the naked bikes category. The M1000R is a head turner and has the power to get you in trouble if you're not careful. I may agree with some of BMW fundamentalists on shady M practices, like giving lower-end BMW cars and bikes M packages to sell them for more expensive. I think M should be reserved for those enthusiasts who really want a superior vehicle, and it shouldn't be used as a marketing tool to create the illusion that slow cars and slow motorcycles are fast track machines just because a couple of M badges stuck here and there. This one right here though, this ain't no M package motorcycle, it is the real M motorcycle.